Hey, yo, everybody, it's Kenny K here again. Um, Bringing you another 80s slasher movie, slasher esque movie. Before I start, please like, subscribe, leave comments. That's a badge of honor for me. I like that. And so, the movie's called Beware of the Kids from 1988. Um, It's a movie that kind of resembled, if you ever seen it in the from the 70s, The Kids, I believe the title was. The kids were zombies, but they didn't eat human flesh, and they had radioactive hands. They could burn you, and you were infected to die. So, in this movie, these kids are cannibalistic, but they don't be- become infected or something. They follow a leader called a kid that's been missing for 10 years called Glendale or something. That sounds like a town. Now, apparently, the sheriff and the deputy are they're over their heads and they can't find these kids. Apparently, there are already like 12 missing. Now, they do find mutilated bodies. Like, for example, there's this Bible salesman who gets chopped in half with a scythe, and then his half is crawling away. So you've got this um, there's also this scene where a kid uh, where a kid gets his head chopped off with this knife, and it's pushed in the ground, so you see the head getting off slowly. I mean, it's a very gory movie, very gory, and in many ways upsetting movie, because we're dealing with kids, uh, 10-year-olds, maybe younger, and this Glendale guy is like 16. There's a moment when there are two main characters. You got the sheriff, you've got an author like Stephen King. He writes sci-fi books, horror books, things like that. He's coming to town. He's ex-marine. He knows the sheriff, but, but every day a crowd is around the police station. You know the drill, right? No, they can't do jack shit. They're like, they can't find anything. They can't even find their fucking dicks. And of course, the sheriff's always angry and he always asks Dale, I think his name is his deputy, to keep them at bay. But at some point, Dale, there, there's this one guy who's doing the gospel, that they should arm themselves. You probably see this coming, and Dale puts his badge on the ground, spits on it, and then he becomes one of these riders. Um, Now, the problem is Scott, for some reason, stays in the dark on the farm of the gospel guy. And of course, all these kids are attacking them. And he captures one and he keeps her kind of as a hostage in the barn. Meantime, Glendale, uh, so spoilers alert, okay? So if you don't want to see this, so if you want to see this movie, it's a little obscure movie from 1988. Beware of the Kids. And it went through the good route that it had gore, it had suspense. The acting wasn't bad, and but then this Glendale kid, so the wife of this author was, uh, she was abducted, because how this works is that the children abduct other children. They call them the Woodies, and we go in the Woodies. We go in the wood with the Woodies. So eventually, the mom gets one of her daughter. So the daughter also from the author, Amy. She gets abducted, and she wants to, try to defend them, but Glendale knocks her out. They keep her alive for one reason, two reasons basically. One, so Glendale can fuck her, and I repeat, fuck her. He's 15 years fucking old, right? With his tiny dick. And then he puts her on a table and cuts out her heart and eats it. Okay. The Then meanwhile Scott, although wounded, asks the girl where's the camp, because first he wanted to go to the sheriff to let him see that he's got one of the girls, that we can capture them and maybe handle them, psychiatrists or something. And they're already like, oh no no, we're gonna kill them all. Now here's the thing. Okay, he goes to the camp. He asks, where's your camp? They go to the camp, and the first thing is Glendale wants to fight him alone. He's the man's man, right? He gets his ass kicked. He gets a kick in his little tiny dick and his like tiny drape balls. So tiny grape balls, and he gets. I think he gets killed by hitting him multiple times on the head. Then the other kids kind of stay back because they don't have a leader anymore. They all were following this guy. There are only 12 of them. Like I said, very young kids. And what happens is you have these four entrances. Like from there, and from every entrance, these riders are coming in. And Scott, at this point, also the sheriff, he came to check out. Scott, no, the sheriff. I mean, went to check on Scott. That's the name of the author. And he got attacked, ambushed, because the kids are deadly if they just attack one person, and then they're deadly because the only weapons they have are sticks. There's even one with a toy bow, but with real arrows, and then here and there a knife, and that's it. Maybe a machete, but that's it. A sight, yeah, like I said, one multiple against one. So it's so the sheriff dies. He's to no help anymore, and then this these guys come, and this the author says, if you kill one of these kids, I'm gonna see that you all face trial. And the first, for murder in the first degree. And the first thing this gospel guy does is hit the author, the writer, between the eyes. Yeah, that's the first thing he does. He's basically a fucking murderer. He, they're there for the cannibalistic kids, but And then something happens that I okay saw the trailer. I thought okay, yeah, there's a few snippets in the trailer that was gonna be a big fight, you know, them against the 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 the, the, the adults, and it's so unsatisfying. All these kids are just running around, running away. They get fucking bullets through their fucking faces. They get sighted in half. Really, kids, they get a fucking pitchfork to the neck, and I mean, pretty gory shit. I mean, it's for a movie from '88, and they don't attack the adults. They don't even try. And I thought, okay, if they're gonna make a movie about cannibalistic kids, and there is this right, the adults are the enemies, that they at least don't give up without a fight. But they were only with 12, and the riders were with like 30 and with guns. But if there were more kids, yeah, and if they were kind of more, they weren't, they didn't know they were coming, but it's like they actually made this ambush like camp that they could come from four sides and put them in the middle and then kill them all. And there was no satisfactory in ending in that thing. It was an anticlimactic ending, really, really. And the fact is that they killed their own kids. They own fucking kids. And he had a few guys that really wanted to fuck up. The guy who kills the book writer, the gospel asshole. And then this old asshole was always saying, "You can't do dumb shit, you piece of shit. Why don't you do something, Chief? You can't even solve where my dick is." He was constantly like that. I wanted him to die. I wanted that stupid deputy to die. But you don't get that, and then eventually Amy survives, and the daughter of the writer, because the writer saw his wife's heart getting cut out, so the guy only had his daughter left, and then she hides under his body, and I thought he moves. Oh, he's still alive. Oh, that's pretty weird for getting a bullet through the eyes, between the eyes, and then it's his daughter, and then we see this little clip with a bunny, and we see her with a knife and doing this kind of sound that she's still cannibalistic, and the movie ends. So, oh my dear, I just hit my nuts. Oh. Oh, that's how I feel about the movie's ending. Oh, somebody hitting me in the nuts. Yeah, the movie just, it started good, it had some tension, it had some gore, it had some, there was a chance of a satisfactory satisfactory ending, a satisfying ending. There was um, I mean, there could have been more to the story. There could have been more carnage. There could have been more. You know what I mean? And it's basically kids will be kids and adults will be adults, and yeah, and their leader wasn't a real leader. He fought with a fucking, I think a stick out of the woods, just a branch. I mean, he no. So that being said, gets a 4.9, 4.3 or 4.9. What? Because of the ending, I'm giving a 4.5. So you can take a look, you know, give it a chance. Maybe you like it. Like I said, you have some good gore, and the acting isn't bad. So bye bye. Enjoy the month October.